welcome to the Artistry House. It's Martin here at the British Institute of Professional Photography's HQ. Today we're doing one of our three favourite things, and on the line today we've got a very good friend of mine who's also an amazing UK wedding and portrait photographer, Mr. David Stanbury. Round of applause.
Hey, you all right, mate? How's it going?
All right, how are you, David?
Very, very good. I'm even better now we're recording.
No, for those, well, you won't know that we've just spent 10 minutes recording and I'd actually not pressed the record button, so...
One job. Martin.
So David, award-winning photographer, both in portrait photography, wedding photography, and probably people don't know that you've also won a few commercial architectural awards as well, which really annoys some of the Northwest photographers in the...
currently the Northwest Commercial Photographer of the Year, and I am available for all commercial commissions and anything like that. I mean, it's at the moment I'm just doing a bit of mentoring for Sean Conboy. He's wanting to know roughly how to get angles straight and that sort of thing. So that's keeping me busy at the moment.
Oh, you're going to pay for that. So yeah, award-winning photographer. I'm always amazed. I know when you do your own seminars and I come and watch you talk for the 5 minutes I can stay awake. You always start with how many weddings you and Jen have actually shot, which is how many now?
Well, this is our 26th year in business, and to date we've shot just shy of 1,400 weddings.
You think you get it right by now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, P for professional works every time, mate.
Right then, so we obviously know who you are. Just tell us a bit about your business model and how you make a living day to day.
Right, so make a living day to day. Well, at the moment, we are delivering Amazon parcels and things like that. No, but on a serious level, we work from our studio in Wigan, concrete jungle where dreams are made of in the northwest of England. And we just have the best job. And I know it's easy for us photographers to say that, but we shoot weddings and we shoot portraits, and we've been so lucky to shoot pretty much all over the world. And we've just had some amazing experiences and met some amazing people along the way. It's good because when Jane came into the business, or before Jane came into the business, shall we say, we had 4 photographers and 3 videographers working for us. So it was very much, the business model then was very much on business, on turnover. And as much as it's on business now, it is more about the brand. It's about the Stanbury brand. It's about David and Jane. And one of my proudest moments was when we started to get emails coming in saying, "Hi, David and Jane, we love your style. We love what you do. Can we chat about photographing our wedding?" So at the moment now it's all about the brand, and it's all about the two of us shooting weddings together.
And you still didn't mention Rumbelows. Well done.
No, that's well, actually, that's how I actually started the business. For those of you who don't know, and those who didn't work on ships, like most of the photographers, I used to work for Rumbelows, and I actually started my business when I was made redundant. So I got made redundant during the recession of God knows when that was. So this actually, if this turns into a recession, this is going to be our 3rd recession that we've gone through. And so we actually started in a recession. I started the business with £500, which I loaned from my mother, and I went to the shop that was just around the corner from where we live, and I spoke to the landlord. I got 3 months rent free up front. I bought a couch. I bought 3 16x20 photographs, which I was printing at college because I was going to college learning the more professional side of photography, doing city and guilds, and a desk. And that's how we started.
We were actually both at the same college, David.
We certainly were. I was in the top band and you were in the remedials.
Well, I think that I was there before you, but you are older than me, just if anybody was kind of wondering. So I think you must have been a mature student, as they say. And before anybody comments, no, we're not going to start laughing like we did in Italy when you interviewed me, which was just ridiculous. That it still seems to be floating around Facebook and the internet as well.
It's had nearly, I think it's about 5,000 views. It's had. This interview will be a damn sight more professional than the interview that you gave for me. Hopefully, that's if it's recording.
So we've asked you to, yeah, we are recording now. We've asked you to select your 3 favourite images. They don't have to be the most commercially successful ones, just 3 images that you love, and then we're going to move on to an image that's inspired you. So if you want to share your screen, David, and show us the first image that you've got.
Right, so what I thought I would do, I'm known as a wedding photographer throughout the industry, but actually I'm a wedding and a portrait photographer, and I've actually won more awards for my portraiture than what I have done for my weddings. So what I thought I would do, after we had the conversation regarding this, I thought I would produce or show 3 images that I don't think you've seen before, and I've known you for 30 years, and the story behind these three images, and surprisingly, none of them are wedding images. So let me just get the first one up, and this should now be full screen. Is that right?
Yeah, just after that's it. But
I
noticed as well we've both got cover on our haircuts at the moment as well.
Oh man, I'm quite happy to sell my business for a barber. Does anybody know a barber out there who can cut hair?
Wow, Dave, what an amazing image.
So yes, so this is Lawrence, and this was originally a headshot a headshot commission that we undertook. And basically, Lawrence came into the studio. Now, Lawrence is about 5 foot tall. He came in quite a poorly fitting suit, and then he said, "Hello, everybody. I've come here for my headshot. I'm Lawrence. I've got booked in for my actor's headshot, and so on and so on." So yeah, we took him into the studio. And we started to do the headshot. So obviously he's got his suit on, he's got his jacket on, and we've got the lighting and everything done, and it just wasn't working. So we got to have a little bit of a chat with him and say, "Listen, what you doing? What's these headshots for?" And he was actually wanting to be auditioning, shall we say, to be in a film, and this was a cult horror movie that was going to be coming out. So I thought to myself, well, let's change this image a little bit. Let's go really with what you're going for. So we stripped him off to the waist, and I said, right, give me a really scary horror pose. And literally, I mean, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up now. Literally, he just changed. And this is the look that he gave. And we got this in we did 6 frames of this particular image. Shot on the Hasselblad, shot in the studio with just one main light above the top of my head on a softbox. And literally, the connection that we got with this image was just spine tingling. The random story regarding this actually won me my first National Portrait Award. And portrait awards that we'd won before, we'd always gone to the local press and tried to get the PR, the publicity for it. But I'm very much a guy who likes to do things award specific. So in other words, I'm not really an award-winning photographer. I'm the UK Photographer of the Year, or a Gold Award-winning Photographer of the Year. So I actually phoned up the press, and the press said, yeah, tell us about it. I said, well, I've actually just been awarded the UK Adult Portrait Photographer of the Year. And the phone went quiet, and the guy said, Dave, I didn't think you did these sort of photographs. I thought you were a wedding and family photographer. I said, no. I said, it's the adult portrait photographer because he's over 18. So we had a few conversations regarding that, and the press run with it. But no, it was a great image, and still to this day, one of my favourite images.
Yeah, really, really kind of, it's such a powerful image. His stare can follow you around the room. It is quite spooky. And the Human Centipede, the film, I've never actually seen it. I know it's in the horror genre. Would you recommend it?
I don't think it's for family viewing. I don't think you'll find it on Netflix. But if you do...
sat and watched it, then?
To be honest with you, no, I've not. But according to Lawrence, and this is the word from the actor's man, Lawrence plays Martin in the film, who actually is the star of the film. And he says if you want to see the true Human Centipede, Human Centipede 2, was the one that he was in. If you want to see the real one, the best one, then Google the Australian version, because the Australian version was banned in the UK and Europe. They had to cut quite a few scenes out of it to even get it to an 18 certificate, I think, in the UK. But if you Google it, you will be able to find it. It's definitely not for family viewing. It's definitely not for viewing at night. But what it is, it's a stunning, as a photographer, it's a stunning black and white film. It really is beautifully shot. It's just the storyline is a bit grotesque.
Right. Okay.
Say the least.
Fantastic image, David. I actually did know this image. I've seen this one before, so it's still not. I recognise your brand and your style. And I was just telling somebody recently we were putting the prints away after the Nationals this year, and a couple of your images that you scored very well with. It wasn't until we actually saw the names on the back who we knew that it was you, because it wasn't a Stanbury image, so to speak. And I know Karen Massey was helping me put the prints away, and I said, and it's already been judged and the scores had already been done, and she went, "Oh my God, it's David Stanbury! I would never have guessed this was his image." So it's really refreshing to see something that we don't recognise as your work, because I do recognise your brand as we do with a lot of photographers. So there you go.
Yeah, it's one thing that we're working on. We try and reinvent ourselves quite regularly, and this is the way that we do it. We just try and do different things. So this is an image that I took in the Red Sea Mountains in Egypt, and this actual image was taken in 2009, and the very, very random story about this, which you won't know about, because it's only recently when I've been going through old hard drives and looking through images, is this actually was entered in the Practical Photographer's Travel Photographer of the Year competition, of which I came runner-up. So this was taken whilst, like all travel photographs, it was taken on my holidays. And basically, we'd gone to this Berber camp in the Red Sea Mountains, and as we were wandering around, and it was just a fantastic day. And we saw this little kid, and he never came close, but he just literally kept his eye on us, and he never lost our eye. And then, literally, just as we started to leave, just as the sun was starting to set, he just was walking off, and he stopped, and he just took one last look at us, and I managed to grab this image. And for me, it is quite a poignant image, because these people had absolutely nothing. And yes, I suppose we were being tourists out there. But, I mean, as with all tourist things, there are some places that seem to get the money from tourism, and then there are some places that just seem to have to watch on and look at why other people seem to be making a lot of money. And this kid must have come from another village that was on the other side of the hills, because these people had absolutely nothing. But it was just that connection. And even now, literally the last couple of days when I found this image, I was looking through and just thinking, I wonder what he's doing now. I wonder what he's up to. I wonder, what sort of a life is he leading now? And yeah, it's just one of those images it's another one of those haunting images that I've just fallen in love with.
The light's amazing on his face and on his upper body, isn't it? It's really you're right. It says an awful lot. There's a big subtext to it, isn't there?
Again, a lot of my stuff, a lot of my images that I love, there's a memory with it. I know I bored you before about, moments only become important when they're a memory. And a lot of my photography is really, I've just been living the dream. And I know it sounds really cheesy, and I don't mean it to sound cheesy, but we get to travel to some amazing places. And things like this is just something that I don't take for granted. Up until Jane and myself getting married, I'd never been abroad. I'd never traveled, and it was always one of my biggest regrets in life is the fact of I mean, like you said, I know we joke about you working on the cruise ships, and I remember once saying to you, I said, where have you visited? And you said, if it's got a port, I've been there. Now, for me, this was something that I've never done before, so really I'm trying to make up as much lost time as I can by just traveling, trying to see different things and different cultures around the world.
And you're right, David. If you'd have shown me this image, I would never put your name on it. So, yeah, very beautiful image. Really is.
So, let's go for the next one. Let's hope that this works. Here we go. So, this you may not know about this particular image, or you may have seen this image, but you might not know the story behind it. Now, yes, this is
the hall in Chorley in the park. I'm just looking at the windows and the.
No, this is Thornton Manor in over on the Wirral.
Right.
Very nice wedding venue that we work at. And I know I said I wasn't going to show any wedding images, and people are probably thinking, yeah, but this is a wedding image. Well, this actually isn't a wedding image. This is a promotional image for probably one of the proudest moments of my career, one of the highlights of my career. This was a promotional image for at the time, the brand new Fuji GFX 50S medium format camera, which we couldn't mention about at the time because we'd all signed NDAs, but I had the honor of being one of only 4 photographers in the world that Fuji approached regarding the construction and what photographers would be looking from a medium format camera that Fuji was going to develop. At the time, there was a few rumors going around what it was going to look like, but nobody actually knew about it. I received a phone call, rather random phone call out of the blue, and the phone call was, we'd like to have a chat with you about how you use medium format, because it's no secret for pretty much all of my career I've been shooting medium format with the Hasselblad H system, and medium format in the good old film days. So they said, well, listen, we'd love to have a chat with you just to see what you like about the medium format, what you would like to see in a medium format camera if you were to build one. Would you be interested in this? And I thought, well, I was a bit dubious, obviously with my Hasselblad connections, but I thought, well, I talk about medium format all the time. That's not going to be an issue. Yeah. Right, okay, we'll phone you back and we'll arrange a meeting. So about a week went by, 10 days, and I got a phone call back, and they said, right, how does this date fit with you? And I said, that's perfect. Right, so if you could just give us your passport details and where you'd like to fly from. I said, beg pardon? I said, yeah, the meeting's in New York. So we actually flew to New York. And we met up with all the guys from Fuji, and there was the 3 other photographers that were there. We had a landscape photographer, we had an architectural photographer who we both know. Yeah. There was myself, who was the wedding photographer. We had a celebrity portrait photographer, Marcus Klinko, who's been very well known with Beyonce and Lady Gaga. And we sat down around this table with the heads from Japan, with the heads from Fuji Europe, America, Canada, and all the rest of it. And we basically put together what was then a plastic model of the GFX 50S, and the rest was history. So this was a shoot from there to just basically show how this camera worked, how I would use it as a wedding photographer. So yeah, it's something that I'm really, really proud of. The 110 lens was something that was brought in because they were trying to decide what was going to be the first lenses to release with this camera, and I was really wanting this 110 lens to be released. I just thought it was the perfect wedding photography camera lens. And yeah, so this is the GFX 50S shot on a 110 lens, which is, I'm proud to say, I was one of the 4 photographers who helped bring this into the world.
And a great camera. I still love the S. It's a beautiful camera. It feels great in your hands, doesn't it?
It is. It's a beautiful camera. It's one of my favourite cameras. Sorry, something to see that one. So this was the never seen before image of. I mean, this here is the dinner to celebrate the literal signing off of the GFX 50S. So we've got all the other guys from China and America. Some bloke from. See, this is the thing. This is the thing that I still can't get, and I don't know if I've got imposter syndrome or what. I still pinch myself because and you know me, Martin. I'm just a bloke from Wigan. I'm just a working class lad who lives in Wigan, lives with his family, and all of a sudden I'm in a restaurant in New York here with some of the heads of Fuji, some of the world's most famous photographers, and we're designing cameras. Sometimes you've got to pinch yourself to realize just where this amazing profession can take you, and it's just been a joy to be part of.
That's great. Yeah, I recognise a few faces there as well. That's funny.
It was a good. I mean, and a lot of these are still friends of mine. We still talk on Facebook. We still communicate with each other. There's the guy who's just behind the guy, as I look at it, on the left with the pink shirt and at the front, Justin from America. The guy behind him, he's a really big baseball fan. And during the meal, I was trying to explain cricket to him because my son, as you know, played cricket, and he was like, "Really?" And this game goes on for 5 days. And after 5 days, it could be a draw. I said, well, yeah. He said, no, that's not for me. So, yeah, it was good. It's good to just to have these chats and these stories.
Brilliant. Right. So I also asked you for an image that's inspired you either to pick up a camera or go back to photography, but something that's somebody else's that's inspired you.
Well, I was looking through your images and I thought, well, I better show something that was in focus. Now then, those of you who have come to any of my talks will know that really my first introduction into photography, and certainly into wedding photography, was my parents' wedding album. And that's not just some sales pitch because of graphy and all the rest of it. That literally was how I fell in love with photography and wanting to pick up a camera and take photographs. What actually took me down the road that I wanted to start doing more storytelling images, more black and white images, because my break in this industry was my first wedding was a black and white wedding that I photographed for a friend of a friend. I know I bored you with the story, but they couldn't get a black and white photograph for the wedding day. And I was at college, and this is the reason I loved black and white with photography, was because of this guy, Oscar Mazzaroli, who was an Italian photographer living in Glasgow, pretty much at the end of the Second World War when Glasgow had been flattened.
Yeah.
And this really is a shout out actually to anybody who's going to be watching this video. I actually found out about this guy on the South Bank show. And they actually did a program all about him, and photographers were trying to print his work, and they did interviews and stuff like that. And I watched this South Bank show, and I was absolutely captivated. It just spellbinding. And this really made me fall in love with photographing people, photographing places, telling stories in black and white images. And I tried everywhere to find this South Bank show. I've tried YouTube, I've tried Googling, and I just cannot find the South Bank show that had the program about Oscar Mazzaroli. So if anybody can find that, please, let me have the link. I would love to see this program again, because this is the program. This is the series of images that really made me fall in love with photographing people and places. And it was all about black and white printing as well, which was something else that I was so much in love with as well. So yeah, this guy's a bit of a hero of mine.
I'm actually not familiar with him. I'm gonna, now you've brought him up, I'm gonna look it up and have a look. So that's a great thing about these interviews that we've been doing. I've come across some amazing photographers that I didn't even know about, which is really good.
Yeah, again, if I could just find this link to this program. His images are amazing. I mean, he's done, not only has he done these cityscapes and the Glasgow, the slums in Glasgow, but he's also toured Scotland. So anything from, I think, from the 1930s onwards. I think he was actually employed by the Scottish Tourist Board or one of the Scottish TV companies or something like that. But some of his images are timeless. And this actual particular image here, the front of his book, he actually found the guys here on this photograph and recreated this image as well as a modern day version. It was recreated as a modern day version. So, it's timeless photography, and it's just what I love about photography is the fact of we can look back on our images. I mean, like I've said many, many times, long after I'm dead, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be still looking and appreciating our images, still loving our images and the story that goes behind them. And that to me is what photography is all about.
Brilliant. Right, so we've got a couple of minutes left, and what I've been doing with people that we've talked to is in the last couple of minutes, obviously the day that we're recording this, we're in week 5 or week 4 of lockdown. I can't quite remember. Week 4, maybe week 5, I can't remember. We're all blurring into one a little bit. So
it was after last night.
yeah, the Skype party or Zoom party. So what are you doing to keep busy? What advice could you give to our fellow members to kind of get through this difficult period? How should they prepare?
Okay, so week 1 of lockdown, I woke up on the Monday morning with a really busy summer. And by the Wednesday, we'd lost April, May, June, and now even August is looking a little bit shaky with people swapping and transferring dates, postponing dates. Luckily, we've not lost any dates. We've postponed, so it's all good on that point of view. We've phoned our phoned our clients. We never emailed them. We phoned them and spoke to them face to face. So that was week 1. Week 1 was really about me. Some people say I went into survival mode. I've been self-employed for 25, 26 years. I've constantly been in survival mode. So all it was just, I expected at lockdown to probably the earliest end of May. So we looked at literally what can we do to keep us going to the end of May. So I contacted everybody that we were paying bills out to, i.e. the phone company, the broadband, the landlord, stuff like that. And we got everything put on hold. So the landlord put our rent on hold, BT put our bill on hold. The only thing I never managed to sort out really was Vodafone. So our mobile phone still has to go out on that. Week 2, I started then to think a little bit differently. I'm very friendly, as you know, with a guy called Jonathan Minwick, who's the guy from Fundy. And I remember him once saying to me, what you need to do is you need to think about something that can be working and earning you money while you can't be earning money. Yeah. And for that, I'm started to think, well, I'm going to put a bit more time into my YouTube channel, trying to get more informative content to get put out there to try and push me forward. Because like I said, someday this is going to end. And I said to another guy the other day, it's almost like wacky races. It's on the start line, and that start line is going to start in a bit. We just need to be ready for when this starts. We then went into week 3, which was... I started to change really in week 3, and this is something that I didn't expect, and actually made me a little bit feel a little bit guilty, is when I started the business, again, 25 years ago, if somebody always turns around and like yourself and they said, what's been your greatest moments? What's been the best bit about being in this industry? And them are the questions that are asked. I've never been asked what has been the worst bit about being in industry for 25 years. And the thing that's the worst is the fact of I missed out so much of my kids' childhood. So in other words, all my kids, when they had the proms, I missed all the proms because we were working. Birthdays we missed. When they used to go out playing football, when the friends were going playing football on Saturdays and Sundays, I was working. So I missed pretty much all my kids growing up. So week 3, I started to see things differently. We were sat in the garden, the 5 of us, because we've got my 2 daughters and my son. My son's come back from the army, as you know, he's been on operations overseas. So he's come back home. And literally, week 3 and week 4, I've had the best time being a dad. And I know it sounds really strange and I know it sounds really weird. Yes, we're working on the website. Yes, I've split my days into 3. The first part of the day is for me, so that's keep fit, do a few jobs potting around the house. The afternoon is work, website, magazines, albums, trying to keep in touch with customers. But the evening is family time. And every night we've all sat down, we've all had a meal together, we've all had a drink and a chat together. And do you know something, mate? Like last night when we were chatting with your family, I'm just really enjoying being a dad. And I do feel a bit guilty because obviously financially we're in a different situation for everybody else. But I'm just having the best time at the moment being a dad.
Oh man, that's a wonderful sentiment and one that I think we'll finish on. It was, for those who don't know, we know each other, and last night we had a Zoom call. It was lovely to see your children. When we say children, they're all adults. They're all.
Well, my eldest is 27, you know.
And obviously my son, who's in the Navy or just about to pass out this week, actually, we got him on the line for a little bit because he knows your son, Cavan. It was a wonderful experience. So that was something you'll never forget last night, having the families on the line. So it's brilliant.
Even though we don't remember it.
There was a little bit of that this morning, I have to admit. Right, mate. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Stanbury. It's been a pleasure as always, and hopefully we'll actually have a drink in person before we know it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to keep in touch, guys, on Instagram on Stanbury Photo, Twitter Stanbury Photo, but YouTube, David. If you just look up David Stanbury on YouTube, you'll get to see some of the content that I'm putting out there. And guys, like I said on one of my posts, this time last year I was drinking coffee in Venice with Martin. And we'll soon be drinking coffee again in Venice. We'll soon be back into our businesses. We'll soon be just living our perfect lives again. So stick with it, guys, and we'll soon be out of this.
Thank you, David Stanbury.
See you soon.